Hey guys, welcome back to my booktube channel, Steve's Reads. Oh, I am super excited this week. I am loving being here. We've been commenting, we've been getting comments back. The comments have been fantastic, so thank you all the people out there. I'm meeting some new friends. I'm absolutely loving it. Again, apologise for the light. It's awfully grey out there today, but it's summer in England, so what do we expect? Anyway, welcome. Right, ooh, floppy bloody chair then. So, so today I'm here to talk about a very, very special book. I guess it's like my first sort of booktube review, if you like. So this book to me is really special because it's sort of what started everything off for me years ago. It's the first book I ever actually took an interest in. It's the first book I ever actually properly read on my own. I mean, I'm 37 now. We're going back to, I don't know, I was like 6 or 7. I don't know. My kids are growing up fast. I heard it to them when they were little. And it's absolutely fantastic. Even at the age I am now, I can still pick up this book and just fall in love with it. And it is Tom's Midnight Garden. Yes, Tom's Midnight Garden. First published back in 1958 by Philippa Pearce. And I don't know what it is I love about the book. I think it's everything. It's the way it excites me. I mean, chapter 1, Exile. I mean, wow, what sort of 7-year-old boy, well, say I was 7, it's easier, 6, 7, yeah, say I was 7. What sort of 7-year-old boy doesn't pick up a book with the first chapter, Exile, and really just want to go, what is this? So if you haven't read the book, there are spoilers in this tube video. I'm not, I'm talking about the book. If you want to read it, please do. If you don't want spoilers, don't watch the video. So yeah, for me, what really grasped me was, how do I start? It's the amazing way that the book seems to perfectly marriage reality with daydream or night dreaming, I guess in this case. For those who don't know the premise of the story, it's about a young boy called Tom whose brother gets measles, and he is sent off right at the beginning of summer holidays to go and live with his Aunt Gwen and Uncle Alan in a big block of flats, an old house turned into flats, and he hates it basically. He absolutely hates it. He's a young chap, he's stuck in a summer holidays and he's stuck in a flat. There isn't even a garden out the back, or so he believes. He's told there's nothing out there, it's just a yard. So anyway, first night, he's lying in bed, people are snoring, he's listening to the drips of the taps everywhere. And in the hallway is this humongous old grandfather clock. Now, this grandfather clock has been there forever and it can't be moved, and it apparently is owned by the lady who lives up in the top flat. So he's lying in bed like we all do as children, and maybe some of us still do now. And he hears the dings, it must be midnight. And then all of a sudden, a magic 13th ring. And this magical 13th ring, such a simple premise, sets up the stage for everything. And we find Tom going downstairs, opening the back door, and he steps out into the house as it was 50 years before, maybe even longer. Yeah, longer than that, isn't it? It's like 70 years before. Sorry, gotta love a cup of brew on doing this. So he spends now his nights in this mystical garden which is attached to the house and is only available to him on this magical 13th hour. And I remember as a child just being so loved by this idea that, my whole world's going on, but not at midnight, at 13 o'clock, not 1 o'clock, 13 in the normal hour, this whole new world appears and he's like a ghost and people can't see him, and he's just, what sort of 7-year-old wouldn't want to have this sort of secret world they can go into? Come on! So, as the story progresses, we learn more about Tom and the figures in the garden. There's also children in the garden, and Philippa makes these amazing, she makes it seem so seamless, that it's always, the seasons change depending on what night Tom goes out. And as the time goes on, so I'm doing the words then, and as time goes on, anyway, he starts to see other children in the garden, and in particular, this girl called Hattie. Now, as the story starts off, Hattie doesn't really have any, he's no interest in her. It's the boys he's interested in. He wants to play with them, but they can't see him. But Hattie somehow can see him and begins following him around. But you don't realise this, you just hear little clips about, footsteps in this fresh snow and stuff like that. As the story progresses, these two sort of become more and more friends. And they have adventures together, and I just love listening to it. But the thing that always stuck out for me was this fantastic scene where they want to go ice skating, but obviously Tom hasn't got any ice. I should also point out that Tom is forever in his pajamas. Another just stupid quip of the book, which just makes it more enjoyable. So yeah, they want to go ice skating because this river at the back is just frozen. Imagine like the Thames or something is just frozen over. So Thomas has a great idea that if Hattie goes in the house now and puts her skates in a hiding place in the flat that Tom lives in, they will hopefully still be there 70 years later. So she runs in, does the thing with the shoes, runs back out, and then Tom goes in. Of course, I should also say, Tom goes in the house, it all changes back from, the way it was then, the whole of this grand house, to what it is now, which is like a foyer for a flat with a little table with some magazines and stuff on it. Anyway, and the slippers, the ice skates are there in this place, still wrapped up in the paper, with a little note from Hattie. And he picks up and he runs outside. And I remember my head just being blown as a child reading this. It was just phenomenal. I also like local history as well, so there's probably a little bit of this has affected me. So as the story goes on, Hattie seems to come in. Depending on what night Tom goes out, we see Hattie in various stages of her life. An older lady, an older girl, a young girl, but always knows Tom, and Tom is her friend. And she always remarks about, it can be years before Tom comes again. And Tom says, it's only last night I was here. I was never that fond of Peter Pan as a child, but this was my Peter Pan. This book was my Peter Pan. I loved it. There's also a gardener called Abel who can see Tom, but chooses to not see him because he thinks he's the devil. So again, as a small child, this really enlightened me. It's like, yes, devil child. Brilliant. And the story just sort of progresses. On any road, I won't tell the ending because if you do read the book, that would just completely kill it for you. But the ending worked for me. It wraps it all together, and you almost feel that it could actually happen. I loved it. So we've got to say a big thank you to Philippa Pierce, and a big thank you, because if it hadn't been for this book, I wouldn't be here now filming this video. I wouldn't have the love I have for books now. And yeah, if I had to rate it on a grading 10 out of 10, 5 stars, 100%, I don't care. I'm actually tempted to read it again now. I'm just talking about it. I've had this copy for years, but as you can, I don't know if you can notice or not, it's almost completely untouched because I've just taken, every time I've read it, it's just been so carefully opened up. I absolutely love it. So yeah, my first book review, Tom's Midnight Garden. If anybody else out has read it, please comment below, tell me what you think. I can't be the only person to have stumbled on this magical gem that just set me up on some road of reading. And yeah, so that's basically it. So thank you for watching this YouTube video, my first ever book review. And I look forward to hearing your comments and seeing more of you in the future. So thank you.